Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing my 25-week pregnancy update. This week has been very physically and emotionally draining for me, so I'm going to share all of that with you in today's update. Before we get into it, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Also subscribe to my channel down below and click the little bell notification next to it so you get notified anytime I upload a new video. Now let's go ahead and get into the update. So like I said, I am 25 weeks pregnant. I'm actually 25 weeks and 6 days pregnant today, and this past week has been physically and emotionally just draining for me, and we will get into that just a little bit later in this video. Right now we're going to go ahead and start with all of the symptoms that I've been having. I would say this week the most noticeable symptom for me anyways is the fact that my hair is just getting so thin. I am shedding hair like crazy, and also my eyelashes seem to be having that effect on them also. They are a lot shorter, they're not growing quite as long, and they're not as full as they normally would be. Another thing is that I've mentioned before, I've had big issues with acne this pregnancy, and it's mostly just here on my chin or my jawline area. Sometimes it does come up in between my brows or on my forehead, but it's mostly just right here on my chin area. But this past week, I have gotten one on my neck here, which is kind of painful, and then I have little bitty breakouts on like the top of my back and shoulders, which is weird for me. I've mentioned before, I didn't really have acne as a teenager or a kid, so going through this in pregnancy, normally I do get it on my chin whenever I'm pregnant, but it's always super frustrating, and now that it's on my back, which I've never had, and like up on my neck, it's just super frustrating. In the beginning of my pregnancy, I tried to stay away from like my toners and all my skincare just because I didn't know if the chemicals in those, like I know that they can seep in, and I didn't want anything to affect the baby, so I just kind of stayed away from it and tried to be as natural as possible. But I am toning my face every single night, and that seems to be helping a lot. I just used the Mario Badescu, I think it's aloe and cucumber toner, so it's not drying out my face, and then I'm not putting moisturizer on my face, just my eye cream, and then I just tone my face and I just leave it alone, and that seems to be what is working best for me at this time. Going into my carpal tunnel, I have mentioned on here before that I do have carpal tunnel, so my hands do go numb from time to time. When it started, it would just wake me up in the middle of the night and my hands would be asleep, which was super annoying, but I figured out that if I just limit my water intake like an hour or two before bed, then that doesn't happen quite as often. Now I am waking up with swollen hands. They're not really to the numbing point. Sometimes I will wake up and my hands will be numb in the middle of the night, but I do notice that every single morning my hands are just super swollen and they feel really weird. I am feeling movements a lot these days. I can definitely tell that she has her awake periods of the day and her sleeping periods of the day. I know when she'll be sleeping and when she should be awake because there's definitely a pattern. Now it's to the point where she's getting so big that I can feel body parts. The other day I did, like she was doing something and I felt next to my belly button because I could feel something poking out, and I could feel her little knee. So that's always exciting when they get big enough for you to feel their body parts. Some people think that it's super weird, and it is a little weird, but I think it's also very exciting. One thing that I mentioned last week is that I feel like my bones, like my pelvic bones, are separating, and I definitely think that they are. I'm gonna talk to my doctor about it at my next appointment, which is in a couple weeks, I think, but I can definitely feel the fact that they are separated. I mentioned that if I push down on my pelvis, it feels bruised. Now it's to the point where I can feel like there's a finger width gap in between my bones. I have read that that is pretty common in pregnancy, that it happens to a lot of women, and I have also read that it does get worse the more pregnancies you have, just because things have just been stretched so many times. So it just seems like I'm gonna have to deal with that for the rest of the pregnancy, which is fine. It just sucks that I'm experiencing this right now because I still have quite a ways to go, and I'll have to be dealing with this for the rest of the pregnancy, probably. I haven't read anything that helps it. I have read that you can get like a pregnancy like band that helps take the pressure off of your pelvis, you know, just lifts the belly. But I don't know that I want to go to that extent right now, just because it seems like I do have a belly band that I do wear from time to time with certain pants. And it seems like when I wear that, I tend to have more Braxton Hicks contractions. So I don't know. I'm just going to talk to my doctor and see what she says, and I will keep you guys updated. Since we're talking about that has been the physically draining part of this past week, is just that it hurts so bad. Like, I can go from sitting and I know that as soon as I stand up, it's gonna hurt. I'm gonna be able to feel that separation really bad whenever I first stand up. And then also taking steps hurts really bad. Like, I feel like I almost have to like keep my legs really close together and then take little tiny baby steps, just because it just hurts a lot. And that's really rough when you are a mom of 3 smaller aged children. I have a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old, and I'm constantly going back and forth from school to drop off and then pick up the kids, and then getting up and down to get snacks and drinks, and not to mention I have still been nesting. So I'm constantly sweeping and picking up toys and picking up clothes, because nobody seems to know where the hamper is in this house, or the trash can for that matter. And it's just a lot. I'm doing a lot because my nesting is giving me, I'm pretty, like, it seems like I have a little OCD whenever it comes to having this house cleaned. I need everything cleaned. I need everything picked up. I need trash to be thrown away, and it needs to be done almost immediately. So it seems like I'm just doing a lot, but I can't not do it. Like, after breakfast, cereal will be on the floor. I know this because my 4-year-old, he eats cereal a lot as breakfast and as snacks. He is autistic. He doesn't eat very many different food groups, so I know that cereal is something that's just one of his go-tos. And it seems like he'll pick up a few pieces of cereal and only like 1 or 2 will get into his mouth, and the rest goes on the floor. And I have to pick it up immediately. Otherwise it gets stepped on, and then that turns into little bitty crumbs, and I need my house to be cleaned, and nobody else, it doesn't bother anybody else. So I'm having to pick up after everybody in my house, which is a normal thing because I am a stay-at-home mom. But it just, instead of picking up a lot at the end of the day or just once a day, I'm picking up all throughout the day, which is a lot of bending, and it's a lot of walking from one side of the house to the other side of the house, and it is just really painful. I feel like if it weren't for me being in pain, it wouldn't be that big of a deal, because like I said before, like I like to keep my house clean. I find cleaning enjoyable right now is pretty much what I'm saying, and it's just a lot. And then being so physically drained, that is taking a toll on me emotionally, just because I feel like I am picking up after everybody and nobody seems to care. And it just really takes a toll on me. And like I've mentioned before, like, I'm normally not somebody that has to have my house clean. I don't keep my house immaculate. We live in our house, so and we have 3 small kids, so it's not realistic for people to just pop in unannounced and my house just be so immaculate and beautiful and everything in its spots. That's not realistic. But for people to like tell my husband, oh, it's okay because he deals with so much, and just make comments about my house not being clean when they haven't even been to my house in a very long time. So it's emotionally hard for me. Not to mention, we do have, our 4-year-old is autistic. So he requires a lot of attention. He was nonverbal up until about 1.5 years ago. So he does talk now, but what he says isn't always clear. And once he gets frustrated to a certain point, you can't really understand what he's saying. So that he requires a lot of patience and a lot of attention. You have to catch things before they go out of control, and that's a lot for somebody to handle, that alone. Plus, our 2-year-old has PKU. He has classic PKU. So he's on a very strict diet. I have to watch everything that little boy does, making sure he doesn't put anything bad in his mouth or anything that is too high in protein. Like, we have a certain amount. Like, it is very important for him to stay on his very strict diet. He cannot have too much protein, but he can't have too little of protein either. Too much protein can cause brain damage, and too little can cause delays because his brain won't develop the way that it's supposed to. So that's a lot to put on a parent. Add all of that up with my hormones, because I'm emotional because I'm pregnant, which is completely normal and fine, but then to have physical pain, and then it's a lot. And then on the other side of that, which I don't really talk about to anybody, just because it, like, to hear me, like, I think about it, but I know that if it comes out of my mouth, it's gonna make me upset. And it just makes it a little bit more real that the 2 out of 3 of our children does have genetic issues. And so what does that mean for this baby? Like, I'm trying to do everything right. I'm trying to stay low stress. I'm trying to eat decently to make sure that she gets everything that she needs. And I know that there's nothing that I can do that will stop her from having genetic issues if she does have genetic issues, because that's just a thing that nobody can foresee. You can't do anything about it. I do know that because she is a she, the genetic issues that our 4-year-old has that causes his autism, she can be a carrier of them, but they won't affect her in the way that it affects Cade. But then Landon, me and my husband, are both carriers for PKU, so we have a 1 in 4 chance of her having PKU also. And that's not the worst thing in the world. PKU isn't, like, life-threatening. It does take a lot of work, though. I mean, you have to watch everything, and that's nerve-wracking. And even knowing that it's not that big of a deal, I don't know one person that would wish something like that on their child. And I've just been thinking about that a lot. So I'm just physically and emotionally exhausted. I am doing okay on sleep. It does take a little time for me to get comfortable in bed and actually fall asleep, but then once I fall asleep, I'm okay. I do have weird dreams. That's one thing that has started picking up this week, is my weird dreams, which is surprising because I normally have weird dreams. Is probably one of my first symptoms that I have in any of my other pregnancies, but it seems like I haven't really had too many, and recently I'm having them at least every other night, so that's always interesting. Some of the pregnancy dreams that you'll have, they're just so realistic and weird and out there, and it's just funny. And then I haven't really been craving anything this week. I would say the number one thing that I've been craving this week is Dr. Pepper. I try to only limit myself to 1 Dr. Pepper a day, and then I'm drinking the same amount of water. I did go ahead and purchase my red raspberry leaf tea. I was told that I could start taking it around 25 weeks, and then you could just drink a cup a day starting at 25 weeks, and then by 30 weeks you can up it to 2 cups a day, and then I think you can even get up to 3 cups a day. I'm not really sure. I'm trying to read up a lot before I even start drinking it, but I did get the okay from my doctor, so I will be starting that soon. And with that, I haven't taken that before. I've never even tried it, but with every single pregnancy, my water breaks and my contractions either don't come at all without Pitocin, or they start up and they are not effective contractions. They're just really painful contractions that don't do anything. So that is why I have been looking into red raspberry leaf tea and speaking to my doctor about it. So I'm really excited to give that a try and see what happens this time. But I think that that is it for this update. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys my 25-week pregnancy belly. So here is my belly at 25 weeks and 6 days from the side. And here we are from the front. Again, I've lost all of my curves, which is strange for me because I've always been super curvy. And then here is my belly from the other side. But that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please go ahead and give this video a huge thumbs up. Also, subscribe to my channel down below. Click the little bell notification so you get notified anytime I upload a video. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.